Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live, lots and lots to discuss. I really want to talk about some really interesting comments from Jose Mourinho's biographer. I think it was a few years ago now, but really interesting with the Guardiola and the Man City thing coming up. But the headline actually is Mourinho faces Pogba transfer threat, which was something I'd totally missed until somebody messaged me this afternoon and say, what do you think about Pogba's comments? And my interpretation of Pogba's comments were that he's happy at Manchester United. I was given the link to The Guardian, then I checked it in the Manchester Evening News, and I do agree that there is a certain aspect in there that almost is a threat to Mourinho, because basically what he said is that I haven't got a problem with Mourinho, he picks the team, I've never been dropped before, I've got to respond to that. But then when asked about a transfer away from Manchester United, the direct quote is, too early to say, the situation can change. For me, Sophie, that is not what I would expect Paul Pogba to say if he's happy at Manchester United. Surely, I'm happy at Manchester United, I see my future here. It's far better than, too early to say, the situation can change. That's a little bit like, well, I actually do agree with the person who messaged this afternoon. That is a slight concern, that sort of comment, because it's not as firm as we would hope.
Yeah, and I think with Pogba, gradually the concern has got a bit more each week. At first we thought, it's just a rumour, it's something that the press have created, and the usual garbage. But I think the longer that it's been dropped by Mourinho, the more concerned I've become, and that comment just tops it off, really. Obviously, he isn't happy, is he? You wouldn't say something like that. And I'm sure Mourinho wouldn't like him saying something like that, because it's just causing a stir now, really, in the media and among fans as well.
I mean, Liam Benson says maybe he's fishing for a new contract. Maybe he's playing a power play with Mourinho. You were there at the game yesterday, Flex. I was talking about it afterwards with Jared, who said Mourinho has solved this Sanchez-Pogba problem where Sanchez comes inside to Pogba's position that he wants to go forward into by yesterday making Pogba play a lot deeper, which he did quite well as a quarterback, but also to the right-hand side as well. So Pogba's had to adapt if he wants to play in that team with where Sanchez is. I mean, what were your thoughts on him yesterday? Because some people, you interviewed some people, they were like, bit of a mixed bag performance, a bit like United really from Pogba. And also the quotes, too early to say, the situation can change. I would want something a bit firmer than that, I must be honest.
Yeah, well, firstly on how he played yesterday, he played okay, he played well, like a couple of very good passes. You know, Lukaku could have got a couple of assists, if Lukaku would have converted his chance. I think he put one on for Mata as well. So a couple of key passes, but then in the second half, I think it's a bit unfair to just label it down to Pogba's individual performance. The whole team sort of fell off in the second half. So I'm not going to put that down to him, but he was bright in the first half. But on his comments, like, now I'm actually thinking about it, and I have been since I've read it. I was like, oh, hang on a minute. Like what you say, it's not really what you want to hear. He started off well in when I was reading the quotes, which was, me and Mourinho are cool and Ask the manager, he picks the team. It can toughen you up. He said, yes, it's true. I've never been benched in my career, but it can change you, etc., etc. That's what you want to hear. But then, like you said, them last little bits where he was like, well, it's too early to say, things can change. You would want him to say, no, I've only been here 2 seasons and my comeback and I want to go from strength to strength. I want to make Man United great again. You want to hear him say something like that. So there's a little bit of hidden meaning there. I'm not quite sure what that is actually. Only time will tell. But that is a little bit worrying to see him come out and say that. I don't think it's complete panic station. Like, oh my God, we're definitely going to lose him. Of course not. But he could have completely threw water over the fire and killed it dead with a more powerful comment than that. He's kind of left a little bit of it simmering there on the fire.
Yeah, only time will tell. There's a lot of people in the live comments who, before we went live, were getting a bit irritated, saying, oh, you're making up lines and everything like that. It's in The Guardian. It's in the Manchester Evening News. I didn't realise until mid-afternoon he'd actually said that second bit. I thought it was all, there's no problem with Mourinho. Oh, yes. So, but I've got to be honest, I'll add something in. His contract's till 2021. That's 3 years' time. Why is a player with 3 years left on his contract saying, too early to say, the situation can change? It's not too early to say. You've got 3 years left on your contract, mate. All we want to hear from someone with 3 years on their contract is, I'm a Manchester United player and I'm happy here. Don't need the ambiguity. Just give us the firmness. And I think that's where little bit of concern. But as somebody just said in the live comments there, I think it was Jonathan Reed, he means if he's still benched in 6 months, he'll be thinking of leaving. That's what he means. And that is literally what it could be, as simple as that. Anyway, let's move on to another topic. Chelsea losing today to Spurs means that we are 12 points clear of 5th place, Sophie, with 7 games to go. One of those games is Arsenal at home, so that's another 3 points guaranteed for us. What I wanted to say about it, in all seriousness, was that 3 years we had Moyes and Van Gaal. We qualified for the Champions League once. Mourinho's been here twice. He's qualified us for the Champions League twice. And the Mourinho outers, of which I don't think any of us are on the panel tonight, we are, the Mourinho outers is, oh, well, that's what we should expect. It's like the achievements of Mourinho to have that 100% record of getting us in the Champions League is somewhat diminished. I think he deserves a bit of praise for that. It's not something we've been doing in the recent history.
Exactly. If you look at where we lie in the table, you can't deny the progress that we have made. I think obviously the Mourinho outers, it's more based around the style of football that we've been playing and the way that we've been scraping out results against teams that really we should be annihilating, especially at home. And I think that obviously the style of play is an issue, but yesterday for the first half especially, people are saying Mourinho is changing. He's starting to change style of football. We went at Swansea, which is what we want to see more of. So let's see what happens. I've always said for Jose Mourinho to win the fans over, something needs to change with the style of football. There's no doubt he's a born winner. He will get results, and if that means parking the bus in order to get that result, he will do that. He does not care. But a lot of United fans want to see the old United as such, with wingers and attacking football. And realistically, do we still think that that's going to happen under Jose Mourinho? And that's the big question, isn't it?
It is, and that's where I want to bring in these comments. Very, very interesting, this. I forget the name of... Well, actually, I won't forget the name of the person who said it, because that would be very rude of me. His name is Diego Torres, and he is the biographer of Mourinho when at Real Madrid. And basically, obviously, we've got Man City next week, but that's not really where I'm coming from with this, Flex. It's basically comments about Mourinho and how basically up until 2008 he was quite a pragmatic manager and he would let his teams attack, but then everything changed, and especially when they had the Madrid-Barcelona thing. And this was, I mean, whether this is true or not, take it with a pinch of salt, but it's from the biographer of Mourinho at his time at Atletico Madrid. He says, if Guardiola attacked, Mourinho would defend. If Guardiola wanted the ball, Mourinho didn't. If Guardiola pressed high up the pitch, Mourinho would sit deep. And Mourinho had a 7-point plan for winning games. The game is won by the team that commits the fewer errors. Football favours whoever provokes more errors in the opposition. Away from home, instead of trying to be superior to the opposition, it's better to encourage their mistakes. Whoever has the ball is more likely to make a mistake. Whoever gives up possession reduces the possibility of making a mistake. Whoever has the ball has fear. Whoever doesn't is thereby stronger. Basically saying that Mourinho's tactics in relation to Guardiola and Barcelona when he was at Real Madrid was let them have the ball because they're more likely to make mistakes. We're just going to sit deep and let them have it. Which I'm going to flip positive. I mean, give us your thoughts on that. But the positive I wanted to flip on it really is, as we saw in the first half yesterday, and as Mourinho has said, there's a definite change in his mentality to try and get us playing in a different way, which, as we've read there and as we've said in the past, is so against what he's all about.
That's what it is. I think for him, it's almost like he's trying to do something he's almost never done. Well, he hasn't. He hasn't played expansive attacking football on the front foot, well, consistently anyway. He hasn't done it. That's not his style. So he's found it difficult in terms of, to him, you can call it ignorance, you can call it confidence even. He might be thinking, flipping out, what are these fans miserable about? Which is why I think we got the 12-minute rant of the facts. Because, let's face it, Man United fans don't need to be reminded of their history, but the reason why he did that was to say, hang on a minute, in 4 different managers, the best place you've come is 4th. You know, that's his way of saying, I'm actually making us better here, so give me a bit of praise. And I think he does believe in that. He does believe in himself, but I don't want to get carried away with that first half performance. But I said it in some of the vlog stuff I was doing, that it looked like the players were responding to like a message, a meeting or a discussion that's saying, okay, I'll tell you what, we got to play. We got to play, because even when we weren't creating opportunities, just the tempo of the play, I was looking at the players and the positions they were picking up and how quickly they were picking up those positions. It just looked better. It just looked more attacking, and so it shows that it can be done. And I think that's the frustrating thing, and that's why the fans are so frustrated, because we've got. It's not like we look at the players that we have and think, yeah, well, he's going to need loads more money to spend. He's going to need loads more, different transfer targets to come in. Yes, we know what players we kind of need to kick us onto the next level, but the players we've already got, attacking wise, certainly are good enough to play attacking football, or more attacking than we're playing now. And I think that's where the frustration comes from. But like Sophie said, and like you've mentioned, we have made progress. It's just at what cost you put the progress at. How much? Because look how much money we've spent. It depends what price you put on progress. Would you say 300 odd million is good enough for second? Okay, and then if you want to win the league, you better make that 600. It depends what price you're putting on it, because that's where I think we're being let down. And the fact that City are doing so well. If this was a close title race, going down to the end of the season, we just lost out by a point or two, but we'd been with them toe to toe for the end of the season, we wouldn't be having this, even if we were playing the way we're playing. So I do think that that's a huge turning point on this, with the whole Mourinho outers thing. If we wasn't so far behind City, they may not be as in Mourinho out as they are.
I mean, just picking up on that point, let me just read a few of the live comments first. But Free Rebel says, United soaks up pressure, then overwhelms opponents. We don't do buses. So he's defending Mourinho there. Samuel R says it was 30 minutes of good football and 60 minutes of poor football. And Martin says, so when the opposition has the ball and is 1v1 with the keeper, goes round him with the open goal in sight, according to Mourinho's logic, they would have more fear of missing the goal. I mean, that comment about the team who has the ball has the fear, and it's better not to have the ball. If that's true, I've got to say I totally disagree with that. I mean, I don't see much fear with Spurs, Liverpool, Man City, Barcelona. They want the ball, they love the ball, they hate not having the ball. So, but this is maybe a look into the mindset of Mourinho. It doesn't mean it's right across the board, and of course there's contradiction in any opinion, but I chose to flip it there, and I think Flex did as well, that yeah, of course, maybe Mourinho is that at Madrid, but this is Mourinho at Manchester United, and maybe he has been a little bit like that at United, but this is, even if it's just the last 2 games and he's decided to change, I welcome that. I mean, we all know what happened. We played Sevilla twice, a team that had conceded 5 goals 3 times since Christmas, a shocking defence, and we decided to be defensive. I mean, that is on the manager. We all know that. It's in the past, that's on the manager. He's even accepted that. We've got to move on and hope, and Man City building towards that will be all about that. But before we talk about that, Sophie, just picking up on what Flex said there, it was on Sunday Supplement today. Now, Oliver Holt is quite anti-Mourinho, but he said Jose should be embarrassed. They're so far behind Manchester City, but they've spent so much money. They have he's set his own agenda, trying to make out that Manchester United are a small, sleepy club, which is embarrassing to fans who know what Manchester United's all about. He should be embarrassed about how far they've finished behind Manchester United. And yes, maybe they are going through transition, but it's a very expensive transition compared to what other clubs have spent. And is that gap between them and Manchester United acceptable? And especially when Jose Mourinho has said that, I think it was in his programme notes, that Manchester United are in a good position at the moment. I mean, where would you sit on that? You've got one person saying it's embarrassing where we are behind City. You've got Mourinho saying we're in a really good position.
I think if you look at it in comparison to the last few years, we are in a good position. We have made progress under Jose. The gap, obviously, there is a massive gap. Sometimes you have to hold your hands up and say, you know what, City are playing fantastic football this year. They've been superb, deserved winners of the league. And like I've mentioned before, any other season on the points total we have got, if it isn't for a fantastic City team like that, we could be champions. And so, you know what, you have to hold your hands up and say they've been absolutely superb this season. However, like I've mentioned before, if I was Jose Mourinho now, I would be looking to find what my best system is, looking to find what my best centre-back partnership is, ready for next season. And then you start to see what kind of players you want to sign, because we need to sign, we need to strengthen. You have to look at who Pep obviously inherited at City as well. He had a lot of good players already at that club, whereas Jose has inherited a lot of deadwood at United. I'm not justifying it. I still think we shouldn't have a gap so big. However, what you have to look at is this is a process of Mourinho's at the moment. And if it was me, I think he should have found his best system a lot earlier. He should have. However, he hasn't. So if I was him now, until now, between now and the end of the season, I'd be seeing what system suits our team best, get the style of football improved, get our best centre-back partnership sorted, and then we can look to see who we're going to sign in the summer. And then I genuinely do think we will close the gap between us and City. You say expensive, but Liverpool spent 75 million on Van Dijk. That's just the way that football is going now. I don't agree with it, but the money is just ridiculous. And because it's Man United, people frown at it even more. There's no doubt about that. Look at the amount that City have spent on defenders, and no one really backed an eyelid. So I just think the whole money thing, United will always have that thrown at them no matter what. But football's going that way now, and it's crazy.
Two things on that. One, I think if we're compared to where Chelsea were last season, I still think we'd be comfortably second. Nowhere near as Man City, but I think somewhere between 3 and 6 points. Maybe someone can check that. But obviously we'd still be in a title race because 6 points is still a title race, isn't it? Biosphere says, I'm Mourinho out because the Busby babes would turn in their graves if they knew he was our manager. Ahmed Hamada says, concerning the video title, didn't Pogba just announce no problems with Jose and no transfer intentions? Thanks for the contribution. Yes, I do want to clarify that because we're getting a few pelters on that. But read the whole interview. He starts it off with, yeah, no problems with Mourinho, happy here. But then he does say, when asked about a transfer, too early to say, the situation can change. Which, and as Flex was saying, I was saying as well, I pretty much, until I got this message this afternoon, was like most people thinking there's no problem with Pogba. And I don't think he is going to go anywhere. But the ambiguity of that last statement is almost a little bit of a threat, like, drop me again and I might not be so happy. But just to pick up on there, because I've got another quote for Flex to answer from from an ex-Manchester United manager, actually. But just on that, about embarrassing and the money spent, and obviously I agree with Sophie that, money spent is sort of a 50-50 argument because money can get spent very quickly on players these days. But also, with the Man City game in mind, let's be totally honest. I've said this consistently, even though I've had to sort of take a step back and say Man City are a fantastic team. Let's not forget that where Mourinho came into United and where Pep came into Man City is totally different. It doesn't matter about money. It's like there and there. He inherited his midfield. Mourinho didn't. Mourinho inherited David De Gea. Pep inherited a very, very good team, and that's a factor as well. But I still think the points is too much. Tommy Docherty, Flex, former Manchester United manager from the 70s. Take it with a pinch of salt because he did get us relegated. But he said Jose would eat himself if he was a piece of chocolate. He's what else did he say? I'd be amazed. He won't last. I'd be amazed if the board continue to put up with his antics.
That is simply the Jose Marmite dilemma, yeah? Because you either love him or you hate him. Some people look at Jose's confidence, arrogance, ignorance, whatever you want to call it, and think, oh, I can't stand that guy. He's so up himself, etc., etc. Other people look at Jose and like, oh, I like him, so confident. I like that he comes out with fire. I like that he criticises the players. They're on over 200 grand a week. Why shouldn't he? Etc., etc., etc. So I think that's just, he's obviously drawing on his own experiences, but that's just the Jose Marmite situation, and clearly he doesn't like him. So, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, albeit, like you said, he got us relegated, so whatever. But, I literally think it's as simple as that. Some people will literally love Mourinho. Some people literally can't stand the guy. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, he is Marmite, you're right. And just the same question there. I mean, Greek Red Devil says if Mourinho had 11 talented soldiers, he would win the treble. Yeah, you're probably right. Would you rather have Mourinho keep and develop Rashford or Martial, says Widham 7? Or we'll talk about Martial a little bit later. And Crizia Prince says football's changed. Everyone has to pay big, so sit down. And I'm going to copyright that sit down thing. And Retro City, who's a Man City fan, says, I like this channel, it's cool, it's a free country. Leave the Man City fan alone. They tried to have a fan channel, no one watched it, and it got shut down. What else do you want him to do? Come on, leave him alone. And Pogba is the man, he ain't leaving, says Ryan McSwiggan. I don't think he's going anywhere, I just think he's flexing his muscles a little bit and saying, you know what, I am and want to be the man here. We will talk about Zlatan to LA as well, says Kingy45. But I just want to ask you that question, Flex, as well. I did want to ask both of you this. When Mourinho says we're in a good position, what's your instant reaction to a statement like that?
It's hard to believe we're in a good position. I can't naturally feel it without breaking it down into figures and numbers, if I'm and stats, if I'm honest with you, because your instant reaction is, well, hang on a minute, we're 16 points off Man City and we haven't challenged for the title and we're out of the Champions League without even a fight. So we're not in a good position. That's my instant natural feeling. But, you know, sometimes you've got to look at progression and progress on a bigger level, and look where you were to where you are now, which is what I'm able to do. And I think by and large, look, we're second in the league when we wasn't second in the league before. You know, we finished sixth, we finished fifth once. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how ironic is that? But, you know, so by our own standards, which we've set as a club, we're still not where we want to be. But we've made an improvement. We've made a slight improvement. But, you know, like, I do get a bit of like, you know, for the money that we've spent, the gap, it shouldn't be that big. We've got players in there that in a better system, in a better ethos, a better mentality of playing, which comes from the coaching staff, which comes from Jose, we should still be closer to City than that. Yes, they've had a fantastic season, but some of the games that we've lost this season and the competitions that we've gone out of, well, I say that in meaning just the Champions League, really. I just can't see an excuse for that. You know, the tactics that day were just completely wrong. And I know I don't want to keep going on about that Sevilla game, but I still haven't really shaken it off, if I'm honest with you. It's still just there. I still can't believe that night of how we played. I didn't see it coming. I really didn't see it coming. We was in a really good moment. So when I look at it like that, I kind of get a bit down and think, you know, we're Man United. We spent so much money and we're so far off the pace. But, you know, it's important to try and look at progress where it is. And yes, it's been disappointing, but we're fighting for the FA Cup and we're second place, and we haven't been second place for a while. It's nothing to celebrate, but it's progress. So you're asking me, it is a bit of progress, but it's hard to think it instinctively.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Just very quickly, I think that's the one for me. In answer to, are we in a good position? You know, we're Manchester United, so we're not happy, are we? Because that gap with Man City is embarrassing, and they are our biggest rivals. But actually, when you look at what we've done in the last few years, we are in a good position. The one is the Sevilla game is the one that hurts everybody the most, and it was unacceptable. And I think we're still recovering from it, and why shouldn't we be? And we'll feel it again this week with the Champions League quarterfinals. Aquilius Hallison says Jose licks pictures of himself and the honours he's won on Wikipedia page. I did like that Tommy Docherty quote. It was the one bit I did like, where he says if he was a piece of chocolate he'd eat himself, Mourinho. So if people want to throw little funny things that we can read out, you know, it is a bit of a banter thing, so yeah, feel free to think of funny things and we'll read them out. Shinji Kagawa's made a contribution thanks to that. He says Jesse Lingard, a local lad, scored at Wembley 3 times, great attitude and his best season. He'll score the winner against City. P.S. Mark, your quiff has fallen, by the way. You need Stronghold Brill Cream. I have changed my hair product. I've gone for a more wax. My hairdresser said, don't use gel. People won't see the blonde. And I'm battling with Sophie. I'm trying to get my blonde out, although it just tends to look ginger with the writing. So I'm losing that battle. But I wasn't going to talk about Lingard. Actually, Sophie, why not? I mean, it might sort of fit in with the same thing. The next thing I was going to talk about is who United's next number 10 is going to be, considering Mourinho has said he will not be signing a striker to replace Zlatan this summer, which he said in January. United's next number 10 then, let's throw it in with Lingard, who may well be a candidate for it. Everyone's back in the Messi Lingard camp again, aren't they? You know, we spoke about him at Christmas, and can he continue that form over Christmas? The answer was no. For 2 months he's been pretty poor. Bit like Pogba and Rashford and Martial. I think the Sanchez deal may have affected Lingard as well. Good for England, played well yesterday, maybe coming back at the right time. What's your thoughts on Lingard, and would you consider, or do you think he could be our next number 10?
I think if Jose can keep him playing the way he's playing, then yeah, he obviously likes Lingard, he likes his work rate, and like you say, he's a local lad, isn't he? And United fans love that about him. His passion on the pitch. You know, even if having an off game, he's still trying everything, is he? So you can never doubt his passion on the pitch. However, ability-wise, you've got to say, if you sign someone who is better, I mean, there's talks of like Griezmann, Dybala, if one of those come in, surely that they're going to get that number 10 shirt over Lingard. You'd have to think so. So, I think Lingard, don't get me wrong, I think he's been fantastic this season for the majority. Really like the lad, and yeah, I think, like you say, for England, he's been quality as well. I think let's see how he gets on in the World Cup as well, playing for England. Let's judge him on that as well. But I think the only thing I can say is if you get someone like Griezmann or Dybala, they're most likely to take that number 10 shirt really over him based on ability.
as a prediction then, because we can always look back on it, number 10 next season, if you had to go with someone, who do you think it will be?
Griezmann.
Yeah, you know what? There might be a silent sort of signing in there. Let's just have a look what people are saying about Lingard before we go to Flex, so he can sort of play it by politically and not, get himself in trouble again. He said Pogba should be number 10, so CE93. Adin Swazi says Lingard's crap. Playlist Limit 100 said Lingard's very good, but he really should be as an impact substitute. Mr. Black Bull says Lingard, no creativity at all. Well, he did set up a goal yesterday, although, I do sort of get what you're saying. Ice Cold says, Mark, you said Lingard can't play intricate passes, but he did yesterday. I counted 8 of them, so you have to take that back. No, I do not. I ain't taking something back because he played 8 passes against Swansea. I don't judge him on half. I mean, this is the problem. I mean, I'll go to you now, Flex. You can cut in here because obviously we know Arsenal fans, don't we? And I just think, I've got to be honest, and this is my opinion, anybody who is saying Lingard should be our number 10 or United is suddenly going to be really good at football, it just winds me up. It's such an Arsenal mentality because it's half a game against Swansea, and I saw a lot of positive things in that. But when we've done that against Man City and Spurs, come back and talk to me about whether Mourinho has changed and whether Lingard's number 10. I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying we haven't changed, but all I'm saying is let's not turn into Arsenal and start saying Lingard's our new number 10 because he had a good half against a Swansea team that sat back, and then in the second half they thought we don't need to set back, and De Gea saved us.
Well, Sanchez could do it.
You what?
I think Sanchez could do number 10 as well. Sanchez.
Oh yeah, I'd have Sanchez over Lingard every day.
And me, I think Sanchez should be played more centrally. Sorry, Flex.
Yeah.
The thing is there with Lingard, look, the guy is in good form over the whole course of the season. He's having his best season in his career.
Definitely.
So you can't take that away from him. And to be fair to him, I was listening. I don't know if you guys saw Rio Ferdinand talking about him on BT Sport. I think it was after City battered Everton, and I did agree with him with some of the stuff he said. Obviously, Rio is, Man United. He loves the club, and he would have seen Jesse through the youth ranks, etc. But I did agree with him in terms of that. Like Jesse he looks like he has something that a lot of England players got. Well, he actually said none of them, which is like the ability to play like one-touch quick football. And when we've been looking, I think he can. When we've been looking to play quickly, and when he's played well, he is good in them little pockets of space. He does find good areas, and he is good at carrying the ball, but he is also good like on the half turn and popping off little passes around the corners. And he's quite a neat little tidy player. But I do agree, you can't judge it on I'm not going to say half a good season. Probably maybe at the moment it's probably 3/4 of a good season. I think he's had.
You know what? Just cut in because I do want you to carry on. You're making a good point, but I'll forget if I don't say this. I totally disagreed with what Ferdinand said because I've been saying for years he's going to be good, and he hasn't been good until this season. But what he got right, and where Lingard, I would say, is top class, and Ferdinand explained it perfectly. He's been so small all his life. To be a good player and make it at this level, he had to, when he gets the ball, get rid of it and move quick. And his movement off the ball is amazing. He's brilliant off the ball, but he isn't a number 10 who can get the ball in tight, hold it off, and play little. He's not a David Silva. He's not a Mata. He's not a proper number 10. He's a get the ball, move it quick, and run. He's not a creator for me.
I think he can. Because if you put him on the wing, he's not the sort of guy who's going to just take on a couple of players, get to the byline and cross it. So he's definitely not a winger. And he's obviously not a striker, and he's not a CM. So he ends up falling into that category because he's not amazing in the other positions. He kind of ends up falling into that. Do you know what I mean? But I think because he's been playing so well, that's all the lad can do. He's played himself into the thoughts of Mourinho, and he's played himself almost into our starting lineup. Because he's performing, and look at the goals tally he's got. So, at this moment, I think, obviously, we have got behind him, and it's been great to see what he's been doing and to go away for England as well and do pretty well. But like Sophie said, if you do get players of the ilk of Dybala or Griezmann or Bale or whoever it might be, those players, like they've done it at the highest level quite consistently. Do you know what I mean? For big clubs, they've been the man. So, yes, you would fancy any of them over Lingard, which is not me saying I want him turfed out, but if we were to get an opportunity to get those players, you would think so. Yeah, but look, I'm not taking anything away from him. I really like the kid. I think he's played really well, and I think he showed good mental strength because he's probably had to deal with a lot of people. Well, I don't know him personally. Obviously, he might have been ignoring people all the time, but we've always said, and a lot of Man United fans have always said, yeah, he's bang average. He's all right. Yeah, bench player. Yeah, come on, 20 minutes, do all right. But this season, he's kind of like, well, hang on a minute. No, I'm more than a bench player. I want to be in this starting 11, and I want to show you what I can do. And he's done it. So if he keeps going and gets even better, who knows? But you would, like I said, you still think the world-class players are going to come and tough him out.
Breach69 says Lingard for Ballon d'Or. He played 8 passes yesterday. And no, you know what? In all seriousness, though, it was around a year ago, he got given a new contract on 100 grand a week, and people went mad. Like, what a waste of money. I think he justifies that wage now, and that's progress. Yeah. And I do agree. I hope he is one of those players that actually does dip his toe into fan opinion a little bit, sees that people don't think he's good enough. And I ain't got a problem with people saying that, because if I was Lingard, I'd think, you know what, I'm going to prove him wrong. And he is certainly on an upward curve. And I'm going to say something now. I hope other people say it, and I hope he hears it, because if he proves us wrong, fantastic. I don't think Manchester United win a title with Jesse Lingard in the starting lineup. I think he's a bench player. I hope he proves me wrong. I would love it.
I think we could. I think we could win it with him in it, with other players around him and playing to the best of their ability on the front foot. I think we could, with him in the form he's in. Because imagine we would have been playing attacking football this year and won the games we should have done. He's been in the side and we're second. So I think if everyone else pulled their weight, I think we could have.
I think. Go on, say.
Yeah, he brings something different. Running in between the lines. I think his movement, he's constantly on the move, and he must be an absolute nightmare to play against. Yeah, you'd say technically he's not the best, even though he's improved drastically this season. But even if, like you said earlier, Flex, bring him off the bench, or even if he signs just to stretch teams sometimes. Sometimes when teams camping against us, you need someone like Lingard who's going to run the channels and run between the lines. A bit like players on a Sunday who can just run the channels. Yeah. You need something a bit different sometimes, and he just makes stuff happen with his movement for me. So he doesn't even need the ball a lot of time to be effective. It's just his movement. I imagine he'd be a nightmare to play against.
Do you think we could win the title with him in it?
Yeah, I do. I think if you look at
standards are dropping.
People criticise Pogba's effort in that this year. Yeah, you can't say that about Lingard. I think if Pogba put in some of the effort that Lingard had this season, you'd be looking at possibly up there for the Ballon d'Or this season.
This is the problem with the whole team, though, isn't it? Because you're right. You put Lingard's effort into Pogba, you've got the right player. And fairness, as much as we give him stick, you put Fellaini's efforts into, I don't know, I'm trying to think, Herrera this season. We've got talented players who lack effort, and we've got the players we don't really think that are talented who've got the effort. And what you want is that hybrid of both that we seem to struggle with. I mean, Adam Corbett says Lingard's fantastic. He proves Mark wrong every time he plays. This is again where I would say Sevilla, Lingard played invisible man. Brighton, the invisible man. Half a game against Swansea, plays well. Everyone's Messi Lingard again. All I'm saying is, please, I think he's very, very similar to Manchester United. What he does next week defines whether Lingard really is good enough or not. If he turns up like he did yesterday against Man City, you've got to say they are arguably the best team in Europe. If he can go to their ground and play like he did yesterday, everyone who criticises him has got to sit down and say, this is a real player. If he goes there next week and he disappears, then the jury's still out. It doesn't mean he's not good enough, but that's where he's got to do it for me. He's got to do what he did yesterday and for England in a big game like that.
But that will come down to a team. That will come down to how we set up, and that will probably come down to a team thing as well. Because if Pogba goes like he has done in a lot of the big games in his last 2 years, does that mean that Pogba's crap? Then it doesn't. We know, because we know he's got it in the locker. So there's some games where technically Lingard's outperformed Pogba. Well, not technically, Lingard has outperformed Pogba this season. Let's say he's played better than him all year, but we know that obviously Pogba is better than Lingard. So that shows me something. That shows me that in fact, Lingard, like I actually don't think we're giving him the praise he deserves. I was one of his biggest critics, but I don't know, man. After seeing him week in, week out, I feel a little bit like No, I think he deserves his props. I just think he deserves his props.
I haven't seen it in a big enough game. I haven't.
Yeah, I agree. He hasn't done it against.
People say Arsenal and Chelsea. They were tap-ins and a header from across from Lukaku. There wasn't an individual performance there. It wasn't. I mean, look at the goal against Watford. The Watford goal was brilliant. He gets the ball, he runs past 3 players. Great goal.
First goal he scored against Arsenal was a good team goal. Movement again, good finish from him. Okay, tap in from Pogba on the second goal. And I forgot, to get free in the box against Chelsea, still a good header. No, Mark, I think you need to give him more props. At the
end of the day, he's added goals. He's added goals this season as well to his game.
Hey, everyone raves about Dele Alli all the time. Says it's amazing.
2 in a big game.
Today. Yeah,
away from home.
I don't know.
Look, all I'm saying is, people are taking pelters at me. All I'm saying is, I want it to go back to Lingard. I want him to be there. I'm going to shut that fucking idiot down from the United stand. I'm going to shut him down next week. And if he does it, everyone will be going, Mark, he shut you up. And I'll be going, yeah, up yours. We beat City. I'm not bothered. That's what I want.
Won't take it back. Just won't care because we beat City. You just
No, I will. I tell you what, give him the Ballon d'Or. I will nick it for him. If he plays well next week, I will admit it. I don't jump too quick, and I can't jump there because we all know, don't we? We saw it at Christmas. In fact, Sophie, you said this exactly at Christmas. Everyone was like, Messi, Lingard, he's great. What did you say? You said he's got to do it from now till the end of the season, and he didn't. Yeah. It's only last couple of weeks he's got back to that form. I think all people are saying is that consistency is what. He's 25 as well. Every paper said this last week. Everyone thinks he's a kid. He's 25.
We say about consistency, but it's hard to judge Lingard on consistency when, as a team, we have been so inconsistent this season. Yeah. 1 week we'll be like, yes, we finally turned over a new league, and then the next week we're awful again. So I think it's hard to judge him on that as well when we're not consistent as a team. The team's never consistent; it's constantly changing, and you've got to take that into account as well. He can only do what he can do when he's on the pitch. At the end of the day, he's got to take the chances.
That's a great point.
I can put it better than that and say that actually. Because I said it yesterday as well. Sanchez has had a lot of stick. Martial's had stick. Rashford's had stick. Pogba's had stick. It's not rocket science that actually we try and play on the front foot. We play along the ground. We get it forward quick. Sanchez has a world-class game. Lingard played really well. Mata was fantastic. Lukaku was getting chances. Again, it sort of fits in with what you're saying there. Let the horses run free. You'll get better performances from team. We've said it about Lukaku, haven't we? Lukaku averages 2 chances a game. Harry Kane gets 5 chances a game. Everyone's saying, Harry Kane's one of the best strikers in the world. What would Lukaku be with 5 chances a game? You can only do what you're doing within a certain formation, can't you? And that comes down to the tactics, as Sophie was saying there. Really enjoying the show. It's not all about agreeing exactly, which is very, very good. Do drop a like on the video. We want to get 500 likes while we're live, so smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. See, we don't always agree. What was going to talk about next? Yeah, well, let's just go into another controversial thing. We're rocking. Martial. Yesterday, people at the ground were saying that Martial looked very subdued, like a man defeated. Mourinho said after the game, we dropped off in the second half. I wasn't happy about that, but we dropped off in the second half because people were tired from the international break. Didn't use his third substitute till stoppage time. Could easily have brought Martial on at any time. Didn't do it. Rumours again of Bale for Martial and Martial to Juventus. There's 2 sides to this before I get your opinions. There's the side that Mourinho, and I sort of agree with it now, that Mourinho doesn't like Martial. I think it's very obvious. But also, Martial's only got 1 year left on his contract. What's the problem with Martial thinking, I don't want to play for him? There's nothing I can do to make him like me. I've done absolutely everything this season. And he went and signed a player. I've won Player of the Month 3 times out of 5. In January, he goes and signs a replacement and gives him $500,000 a week, 200 grand more than anybody's ever earned a week in this league, and kicks me into this on the bench. Is it what's your thoughts on Martial, Soph? And is it time to start feeling that he will leave Manchester United? And what does that mean if he does?
I think, I'm not saying I want Martial to leave because he's obviously got that ability, but I think we all know Jose likes grafters, people who are going to work hard. And Martial doesn't strike me as the type of person who's going to track back all the time, going to work really hard. When he's got the ball at his feet, there's no doubt he's absolutely fantastic. But he's kind of got that aura about him where he seems lazy. He's got that kind of arrogance about him. And for me, it's a shame because when he's got that, like I said, when he's got the ball at his feet, he's got ability, he can finish, and I don't want to see him leave United because I just feel he'll be a world beater somewhere else. I can really see that happening. But Jose likes players, he said it before, who are going to run through walls for him. Is Martial really that kind of player? You can't say that when he has played recently, he's took his chances. For me, he hasn't. He hasn't really performed when he's been on the pitch. But at the same time, I don't agree with the treatment. When we got Sanchez, I do feel for Martial because I don't think that was fair. Which is why I feel Sanchez should be more of a central player. I'd like to see them. I'd like to see Martial on the left and Sanchez play centrally. I'd like to see them play together. So I think at the same time, I can kind of see Martial's point. I wouldn't be happy if that happened to me. But it's more about taking his chances when he's given them, rather than sulking.
Yeah, I mean, I was just reading something there. Apparently, Anthony Martial's next goal. We'll read the super chats in a minute. We've had a few coming in. Biosphere, though, has said that Jose will have a team full of old men. Apparently, Martial's next goal will cost the team $9 million. That's part of his contract. I don't necessarily think that's why he's not playing, because that's been hanging around for a while, and he has played in games and not scored. So I don't think that's why we wouldn't play him. And I think he will be involved at some point between now and the end of the season. But I felt that yesterday was Mourinho's strongest team, and Rashford and Martial are now bench players. You know, you can talk about Lingard, whether he should be or shouldn't be. I think Martial and Rashford are, whether that's right or wrong. Looking around at this on social media today, because I did talk about it on a video I did this morning, and we did put a poll out, Flex, about what United fans felt if we were to let Anthony Martial leave Manchester United. Would fans really be Jose out if he sold Martial? Over 7,000 people voted, of which 71% said they would be. Quite passionate opinions when it comes to Anthony Martial, and I think a lot of people are frustrated by it because, one, like Sophie said, if you let him go, he's obviously going to go off and be a very good player elsewhere. But two, it's this Bale thing that's sort of adding fuel to the fire, because Bale's 29 in the summer. You're going to get him for 3 years. Martial is 22 just. You could have him for 10 years if he stayed here. You've got a young, talented player who needs a little bit of development. You've got a world-class player who is injury-prone and coming towards the end of his career. Mourinho is lazy. He always goes for the finished article. United have always been a club that develops youth. And I think that is where Mourinho's getting the pelters here. Where do you sit on it? And what do you think is going to happen?
If I'm honest, that's probably my biggest bugbear. Not even of the season, just of the kind of Mourinho era is the Martial thing. Because in my opinion, if we get Martial playing week in, week out, he could go on to be a world-class player. There's no doubt about it. Some of the things he does, he's probably, I don't know, it's questionable, but there's stages where I think he's our best player, like our most naturally attack-minded player, can take people left, can take people right, cut in, take them down the line, can shoot. It's so frustrating to see him not progress, and I do point the finger at Mourinho for that, if I'm honest. I do, because I think under any other manager, I think he flourishes. Because, yes, Martial's got to take some responsibility. He's got to be consistent. But Sophie said it there, is Martial the type of player who's going to want to run through brick walls? And he's probably not. But is Jose Mourinho the sort of manager that's going to have a player who has as much flair as Martial and let him express it? No, he's not. And I think that's what it comes down to. I know to a certain extent no one's bigger than the team and you have to work hard. But there are some players that should almost be allowed to express how good they are. And he's never going to be able to do that under Jose Mourinho. And that really worries me. I am feeling a bit down about the whole Martial thing, because if he was to go, I'll be absolutely fuming. He is so good. He's brilliant. He really is. We've seen it. Before Sanchez come week in, week out, he was absolutely fantastic. After having a bad season last year, so he showed that he was ready for the fight. He showed he was ready to improve and step up to the plate. He did it. He's got his point single-handedly this season. And for him, there is a bit about the mentality thing, because a different player in Martial's situation, even at that age, would think, do you know what? I'm going to prove Jose wrong. I'm going to stay here for however long it takes. I want to make it at Manchester United. I don't care about Alexis Sanchez. I don't care about Rashford getting in ahead of me, whatever you want to call it. But this is 2018, and these are footballers, and they have agents, and the other flip side of it is Martial could be sitting there thinking, I tell you what, I could go to Juventus and start every game on the left wing in a very attacking team that's definitely going to win Serie A, that's definitely going to go far in the Champions League. And I could be the man. I could go to Bayern or I could go to Real Madrid and swap deal. I'd love that, playing with Ronaldo. And maybe that's what I need, to actually a manager who's going to actually just let me be free. So that worries me. I just think under Mourinho, it's looking bleak for Martial, and that really, really annoys me. Very frustrating.
I agree with that as well. I think if you look at, I'm not saying Martial is as good as Ronaldo or Messi. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying players with star quality. Realistically, you don't want them to be tracking back. You want them to be getting the ball and, like you said, expressing themselves because they've got that match-winning quality. But Jose doesn't want that in his team, and I just think you can say Martial looks lazy. Yeah, he does, but that's not his game. Let the guy be effective at what he's good at. And that's not what we're doing at United at the minute. And I do put that down to the manager, which is why I fear the worst for him, because I can't see Martial lasting under Jose Mourinho. I really can't see it.
You're spot on, because it's like the Martial may well in this say, I'm not signing a new contract while Mourinho's here, and he'd have every reason to do that. He's not been treated well. He hasn't been treated well. But like that bloke that you interviewed, Flex, the one that went bloody viral, forget his name. We're not Stoke. We're Manchester United, and I think we do fall into that trap of why. I see it a lot in the live comments. Martial's lazy. He doesn't track back. This, that, and the other. Since when has this been relevant to Manchester United? Obviously, it's relevant that when you put the shirt on, you give 100%. But since when has running through brick walls and tracking back been relevant for Manchester United? That's a Mourinho thing. That's not Manchester United. Liverpool fans, I see it on Twitter and everything like that. They want Martial. Arsenal would bloody love Martial. Spurs.
Everyone in the Premier League would take Martial. Everyone would take him. Everyone. People across world football would take Martial. You don't even need to watch football to realise that he's that good. Do you know what I mean? The guy is a very, very good player. Yes, he's inconsistent. I understand that. He's young, and that lies with him. He needs to find that consistency. And to a certain extent, like I said, he did find that this season after a bad season last year. But with him, it's similar to like an Ozil sort of player, like a Fabregas in his prime. Those sorts of players, when you ask them to come back and do defensive things, sometimes it just goes Pete Tong. It just goes wrong. They're just not capable of even really doing that. They're best if they're left, and they've got players around them who will bust their asses to actually work. Now, yes, nobody is bigger than the shirt. I'm not saying you should expect to come to a team but I tell you what, it's like netball. I'm just going to stay in this top third here, and I'm going to be an attacker, and I'm not going to come back. I understand that. This is football. Everyone can go everywhere. But with players like him, I just feel, like you said, why should he have to come back and break through brick walls all the time and bust his ass getting back to help the right back or the left back or whatever it may be? He should almost be left to his own devices to go and attack and influence the game. So it just worries me, man. I am very worried. More so, I remember you asked me, I don't know if it was a few shows ago where we lied on that, who we think would be there out of Pogba, Martial, and can't remember who else the other one was. And I said, I think Martial and Pogba will stay. And I said Fellaini, that was it. Fellaini would go. But with the Martial thing, now, I'll be honest, I'm starting to really wonder.
Yeah, well, I just think Salah doesn't track back. Mane doesn't track back. I think we've fallen into this Mourinho trap there, and I don't agree with it. And maybe that's what we were talking about at the start with the author when he was at Madrid. When a better team's got the ball, everyone get behind the ball and let them make a mistake, and that's why Martial has to defend, because that's what Mourinho wants. But it is not an essential part of an attacker's game to track back and run through brick walls. It is to actually be a flair creator. That's where they come alive. It's where Ronaldo used to come alive. It's where George Best used to come alive. That's where they come alive. That's why they're attackers. And I think if you are somebody who doesn't like Martial because you think he's bloody lazy and doesn't track back, you need to readdress what actually Manchester United should be about. Maybe. Ben Josh says, thanks for the shirt. Yeah, Rafe Lauren. But Sophie's is probably the best shirt tonight, isn't it? Up United. But Martial will win a Ballon d'Or, says Samuel Kuma. And Martial for Dybala and Sandro, says Richard O'Sullivan. We'll see that. We'll see what happens. Very close to 500 likes. Keep hitting the like button. We've got a couple of thousand watching. You're all very welcome. Very, very good show tonight. It's whizzed by again. And as bad Arab124H says, Martial's just turned 22. Why are people judging him against a 29-year-old like Bale? Exactly. I think this is the big thing. We've all mentioned it tonight. Mourinho wants players who are ready because I'm a Mourinho inner, but look at his career. He's very lazy. He doesn't want to develop players. Martial is somebody who needs some development, like Rashford does. He's not the finished article. Of course he's not. I think it'd be tragic if we let him go. I agree with Flex. For United to sell a player like that, who's got the potential to be world class, who's at our club, who's young, talented, flair player, for him to be allowed to let go is a big two fingers up to what United's all about. And I will say that publicly. Look, I've already just done it.
Do you know what, Mark? Do you know what? If he lets him go, I'll say it, yeah? He will be another one of Mourinho's De Bruyne's, another one of Mourinho's Salah's in later, whatever you want to call it. I know it took a few years, even to Lukaku to an extent. I know he brought him back. Players that he thought wasn't good enough, didn't fit into what he's trying to do, and they go and smash it somewhere else. That's all. That's what will happen. And we'll be sitting here as United fans thinking, for God's sake, look, that's what will happen.
I'm just going to go through some of the super chats. So Andrew Southwick says, if you would choose Fellaini over Martial, you don't understand United and you don't need to be our manager. He's talking about Mourinho. Michael Hubbard says, we need the league ASAP. Sadly, much time has passed. Yeah, we don't want to become Liverpool or Arsenal. James Aaron says, Martial 11 goals. Crap Lingard 13 goals. Amazing. God, that's such a weird comment. Really weird. Who you can't. Well, maybe you can. I don't agree with that. Biosphere. Jose will leave a team full of old men. Yep, we did that. Justice O. Jesse Lingard for captain next year. Cool Cole. Thank you very much. David C. The only reason Jose will sell Martial is because he's not homegrown. He's much better than Rashford, but Jose won't sell him because of the backlash. Ahmed, I think he likes Rashford, to be fair. Ahmed Hamada, if each of you, Sophie and Flex, would make the summer transfer list, which 4 realistic players would you choose? Well, I'll let them think about that because I'll come back to them now. Justice O, Lingard was involved in every good thing we produced yesterday. Don't get me wrong, he's not world class, but being involved in every good thing for your team is what world class players do. It's only Swansea, mate. I'm not getting into that again. Ice Cold Mark, you said Lingard can't play. It did that. Max Whittle, all sports plus football defence is the key to winning. Mourinho winner. And I think that's it. We've covered them all, which is great. So, yeah, let's go back to that comment there then. Have you given the transfer window much thought, Sophie? I mean, for me, it changes by week to week. But if you had to prioritise, where would you be looking at? What players would you be looking at?
Left back, centre mid, and a number 10. That's what I'd prioritise. And I think I've already mentioned, I think Griezmann is still a possibility after what happened last summer. I think Savic is obviously one who's been mentioned quite a lot recently as well. And Sandro at left back, I think, as well. That would be the 3 that I'd be looking at.
Flex?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Although I would, Sophie mentioned it earlier in the show, which is looking at that centre-back pairing. Like I said, I think if you're going to win a title, your back 5 needs to be almost consistent every game, obviously including your keeper. So if he's not going to trust in Smalling, for me, Eric Bailly is our best defender. And even he hasn't played every single game when he's been fit. So if he's not going to trust any of who he's got as a centre-back pairing, I would obviously ship some out, maybe a Phil Jones. If you're not going to use Rojo or whatever, ship him out. Like, not that I want him gone, 'cause I like Rojo, but I'm just saying, like, he needs to find a centre-back pairing and go, right, this is what it's going to be. If it's going to be Lindelof and Bailly, then all right, cool, it's going to be Lindelof and Bailly. But that's just what I think. But left back, definitely central midfield, and a number 10. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think, to be fair, if you're looking even maybe into the season after, you got to start to question. I know Valencia's solid. He's such an athlete, and his athleticism is what's carrying him through. I think, because he's just such an athlete. He's a brilliant right back. But look at his age. Was he 32?
Yeah.
So you're kind of looking into that area. Maybe that might be his last season next year, depending on how fit he can keep himself.
I'm not going to answer it because I think I've done it already last week on a show I did, but I am going to read this comment, and I think everyone will smash the like button when they read it because it's a fantastic point. Robert Fahy says, how many times does Martial have to prove himself? Signed for a record fee, and the press called him a waste of money. Came on and first few kicks of the ball for Manchester United against Liverpool, massacred their defence and scored a goal. Who can do that? Van Gaal has a great first season. Van Gaal goes. Mourinho comes in, doesn't like him. Basically tries to, basically treats him like a flop for a season. Comes back in the summer, fantastic. Starts on the bench, goes head to head with Rashford, beats Rashford, establishes himself in the team. 3 players of the month. Then Mourinho's, he's done all that for him. Then Mourinho goes and spends £500,000 a week on Alexis Sanchez and drops him on the bench. How much does Martial have to do to prove himself at Manchester United? And I think it's a brilliant comment, and it's not really aimed at us. I love Martial. You can't change my opinion. You might not like him. That's your opinion. But I think it's a brilliant comment because he's already proved himself so many times. Why does he have to keep having barriers put in front of him? We all know, because Mourinho doesn't rate him. That's it. Why would you go and spend £500,000 a week on a replacement for a player who has done everything you asked of him this season up until January? It's because Mourinho doesn't rate him, and that is it. I think. I don't know anyone else.
Doesn't rate him. Maybe in training, because Martial's just got that plain look on his face, which he never looks happy, he never looks excited, he just looks the same, doesn't he? Like, maybe he just don't do what Mourinho's asking him in training or something. Because I honestly don't get it. Obviously, we're not there day in, day out. But something's not right, man. Something's not right.
I do think it's that. I think, like I said earlier, he doesn't run through brick walls. And Mourinho wants someone who's going to work hard. And Martial doesn't strike me as that player who's going to do that.
I just think it's a brilliant comment by Ratbert Fahy, and I'll personally drop a like on the video myself. But I think it's a great point because it sort of flies in the wind of this. He doesn't run through brick walls. He's had to run through loads of brick walls just to at the start of the season. Even if you just use the Rashford thing, Rashford started off and he blitzed him. Rashford's form went right through the floor up until 2 weeks ago, and Martial was the consistent performer, and he got in the team. And I think he's again. I think Flex said it as well. It's like we need to also consider that maybe Martial's like, I'm not staying here. I've fought tooth and nail to be a success here, and this manager just isn't for me. And also, talking about Ferdinand, before the Europa League final last year, he interviewed Mourinho, and Mourinho openly admitted, I don't like players that I have to put an arm around. I want tough players. I want tough players. And you play football, Joe, Sophie. You must have different personalities in your team. There must be some players that you need to get the best. Well, it's like managing McDonald's. It doesn't matter where you are. You're going to have different personalities because people are different. Yeah,
of course. You're going to have confidence players, aren't you? And I think Martial does strike me as that kind. He's kind of got like a poker face, hasn't he? He doesn't show much emotion. But for me, he needs to just be playing and getting minutes, and then his confidence will flow. When he was getting games, he was scoring for fun. And it strikes me as that kind of player, really. Not really an arm around, just needs to be playing. And he just wants to play, like you say, he's young. So maybe he's thinking in the back of his head, look, I just don't want to stay. I want to be playing. And like you say, go to a different league where he's going to be guaranteed to lift a trophy and get like so many games in the season. At the end of the day, I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be playing every week. You don't want to be sitting there. Yeah, he's on a whack of money, but he wants to be getting in that France team. He wants to be representing his country. So, and he's obviously got the ability to do that. So at the moment, Jose's holding him back.
I mean, I don't know the dynamics of every player in the United team, but I certainly do think Luke Shaw and Anthony Martial are players that need an arm around the shoulder, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, and I don't think it's a coincidence that those two players are now struggling. Cockney Red says, will we sit back and watch City make mistakes next week? You can answer that, Flex. You were there yesterday. We attacked in that first half. We saw Chelsea go to City and park the bus, and they still lost. How do you think? A lot of people still think we won't even see what we saw against Swansea yesterday. We will go to City and park the bus. What's your early doors thinking a week away from it?
Early doors, I've got nothing different to go on. I've got no different evidence to support any other theory than the fact that we will go there, try to be difficult to break down, and probably park the bus, if I'm honest with you. Maybe not as bad as how Chelsea did. They literally... That was embarrassing. I think if we do that, the hate brigade on Mourinho would be out in full force, including me. But in terms of, like I said, a fan said it yesterday, how we played against Arsenal would be the perfect way to go, which was to try and play a little bit on the front foot in terms of pressing in the right areas, win the ball, settle down the nerves, and try and counter quickly. And if we do go 1 or 2 up, don't just sit there, because we were lucky in that Arsenal game because De Gea saved our asses. But not just to sit there. But again, and I asked him. Everyone I asked about the City game said pretty much the same thing. We need to try and have a go at them. We've got nothing to lose. And I agree. I think we should almost throw the kitchen sink at them in terms of just try. Why not? And I saw another fan say, I'd rather lose that game, a couple 2-0 or something like that, and they get the league. And we tried, we had chances, we didn't just sit there. At the end of the day, we know they're going to win the league, so just try. Why not? But this is Jose Mourinho. Can we see Mourinho going? I tell you what, we've lost the league anyway. I'm going to play really attacking football and tell all the players, let's just go for it. Never going to say that, is he? He's not. So, yeah, we'll see.
The thing is, a derby is a great leveller, and whether you've watched Anfield, Liverpool derbies, or I remember United Man City derbies from the 90s where Man City were crap and United were brilliant, but you didn't expect to win 5 or 6-0. We did sometimes, but it's a leveller. It's how Mourinho approaches it. If he goes into it and doesn't treat it like a derby and treats it like they're a better team than us and let's park the bus and respect them, then we're probably going to lose. If we go into it and let players treat it like a derby's a leveller. The ability goes out the window in a derby. So if we turn it into a derby and let it be a derby, we might be able to get something out of it. If we sit back, then you're just playing into City's hands, I feel. But yeah, what's your thoughts on it? So a week away. I mean, I can't wait. People are worried. I can't wait. I want the big games. I want to see how far away we are from where we need to be.
I know it's a cliche, but they say, don't they, form goes out the window when it's a derby. Doesn't matter on form, it's a different game. Mentality is completely different. And I agree with what you both said. Let's go down fighting. I'd rather us lose that game knowing that we forced Man City into a game than know that we've been there, rather than us parking the bus and making it easy for them. I don't want to bow down to City. And yeah, let's throw the sink at them and let's go for it. That's what I want to see. Can I see Jose taking that risk and risk us losing with that style of football at City? No. But personally, as a United fan, I would love to see a bit of passion. Love to see us go at City. And you know what? Just imagine if we beat City playing that style of football as well. How good that will feel going into next season as well. Because we've already mentioned the gap between us and City this season on points is far too big. So why not make a statement against City and say, you know what, next season you're not having it this season?
Yeah, I'd agree. There's momentum. You mentioned that as well a while ago. So that momentum, it's confidence, isn't it? This season's finished in relation to the league, but we're gonna get a positive against Man City. We know next season that we can beat this Man City team, and I can't wait. Let's bring it on. If we get beat 5-0, we get beat 5-0, don't we? I don't want it to happen, but it might be a big wake up call. It might be a reality. Maybe Mourinho isn't the right man. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Exactly. I've got to say quickly. I think it was a month or so ago. I remember saying at the time, no, I'd rather park 1,000 buses than give the league to them on the day. But I'll be honest, I hold my hands up. No, I take that back, because the way it's gone and the way it's kind of petered out, and the fact that it has actually come down to that, where they win, they get it. I just think just go for it. I'll take that comment back. Just go for it. I wouldn't want to park 1,000 buses and sit there. After I saw that Chelsea game, that's when I thought, bloody hell, that's embarrassing. That was embarrassing what they did. And if we go there and do that, I'll be even more embarrassed because it'll be us. So I do take that back. I don't want to park 1,000 buses just to make them not win the league. I want to just go for it and see what happens.
The problem is, if you sit back and park the bus for 90 minits and then they score in the last 20,
got nothing.
There's going to be a meltdown, because people are going to go, get this twat out of our club. He's in a. I must admit, I mean, I like Mourinho. He's in a horrible situation just because of the freak of nature of the fixtures. We are second. We're second. It's embarrassing being far behind, but we are second, and we're the next best thing after them. And we're in this horrible situation where next week, just freak of nature, that we've got to go to their place, and if they beat us, they're going to be running around as title winners. It's not nice and it's not easy, but this is why Mourinho's paid the big money. Lots of people saying what a great show it's been tonight. Good. Really, really enjoyed it. We always do. Got to tell. Flex has got a signed Matter shirt to give away. I have as well. I haven't actually been and had a look at the winner yet on Instagram, so I will do that, and I'll announce it on the Skype show tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. But there's 2, so Flex has got 1 to announce.
I've got a winner here. It goes to, well, firstly, thanks for everyone that entered the chance to win. There was loads of you. It's gone to Jack Bailey from Manchester. from your display pic on Instagram, Jack. You look like a young lad. Yeah, congratulations to you. If you're not watching this, obviously I'll do an Instagram shout out and I'll follow you and we'll direct message each other and get that shirt out to you. Thanks for entering, guys. Sorry if you didn't win, but we'll have plenty more giveaways in the coming months and whatnot. So yeah, thanks for watching.
And I haven't picked the winner yet, so there's still chance to go on our Instagram page through the link in the video description. I think it's the second to last post, and put a comment on there because I'm going to announce it tomorrow and I haven't picked it yet. So I'll do the other one tomorrow. But yeah, really good prizes there, and we have got lots planned over the coming weeks and months. Thanks everyone for watching. Fantastic show. Do drop a like on the way out if you've enjoyed it, because it's been really good. I really enjoyed the Sunday night show, and thanks for coming on, Soph, because it is Easter Sunday and people are giving up their time. Happy Easter, everyone.
Yeah, happy Easter. Thank you for having me on. Can I just do a shout out as well to Megan and Josh, who got married yesterday, and that's the captain of my football team. He does tune in, so big congratulations to them as well.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations, Megan and Josh. Yeah, all good. And Flex, obviously, I was just going to end it there. Thanks for coming on, Flex.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Mark. Yeah, no, always a pleasure. Obviously, remember to follow me on Twitter as well for everything United plus more. Flex United stand all one. Yeah, let's roll and see.
And remember tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, it's Bank Holiday Monday, so our next show will be 8 o'clock tomorrow night, which is the Skype show. So if there's anything from tonight or something that you want to discuss or that comes up tomorrow, remember you can Skype in and have your say tomorrow.
Do you know what, Mark? Sorry, someone did just say it in the comments. Sorry, just quickly. Ray Wilkins, man. He has suffered a heart attack as well, so obviously we've heard he's critically ill. So I know obviously this is echoed from all of us, but all the United community, Etchred, big thoughts with him and his family. I don't think there's a person who could hate Ray Wilkins. He's such a cool, calm and collective pundit as well. Great player in his day as well. So thoughts with him.
Exactly, yeah. We were talking about it on the watch along yesterday, and I've always enjoyed Wilkins in relation to how he speaks, and very educated and very good in, obviously very much a Chelsea man, but obviously played for United and always speaks not always well, because that's not what a pundit does. It's we don't always speak well about United, but he speaks very knowledgeable about it, and hopefully best wishes, because 61 is no age at all. Anyway, we'll let you all get off. Enjoy the rest of your evening, day, wherever you are globally, or get to bed if it's the early hours, because I know some of you stay up late to watch. And 8 o'clock tomorrow night for the Skype show. Call in and have your say. Big week ahead. I'm hoping actually to try and get Soph and Flex on again later on in the week for a bit of a City look ahead of it, how we can win the game, because it's a massive week and I'm very excited about it. These are the games, aren't they? You pull your sword out and you face the fight, and that's what we need to do this week. So I can't wait for it. I can't wait. Thanks everyone for watching, and speak to you all soon. Absolutely overrun there, but it just whizzed by.
Yeah, that was a good show, man. That was good. I was getting worried there because I ain't got my